Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, before we get into this episode, um, so I was reading online on Instagram, and I don't know how true this is or not, but apparently the actress that's playing Lonnie is going to be leaving, um, and also the actor that plays Eli is leaving. Now, it's a little concerning seeing how not that long ago you had Trip that left, and you had, Abby that's gone. The actors, they're gone. So now I'm just like, so you got four actors that left under 2 months. I'm sure it's fine, but it's a little odd when you have people leave in droves like that, in droves like that. It's very alarming when you have that many actors that will just sit there and leave within that short period, that short period of time. It just seems like it's something that's off. Like canceling 7 shows within a month. Talking about the CW. Now getting into this episode, I gotta sit there and say I did enjoy it for the most part. I really did. It's always great to see Victor. It is always great to see Victor. I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of issues with Victor because he's done a lot of terrible things and just kind of been an asshole and everything like that. But this dude, this dude was cracking me up so bad, like because he's in a really foul mood about Shawn and Jan Spears and everything like that, and he kind of loosens up a little bit because he realized that Maggie's kind of going through her own pain as well. Then Bonnie comes in, and the minute he heard Bonnie's voice, he was like, ah, and Nancy was right there. So they'll go get some cards to play some games or whatever, play some card games, and they ask do you two want to join? And at first Victor was like, nah, no, we good. And Maggie was like, no, let's play. So they start playing. I guess it's on Pinochle. They start playing, and Victor. I'm starting to wonder, did he ever have like an edit button? Because he goes in on Chloe, talking about, oh yeah, he's real, because they're talking about Philip, and Nancy's like, yeah, Chloe misses him and everything like that, and is really, really concerned about him. And of course, Victor's like, yeah, so concerned enough to sit there and jump in Brady's bed. So he just goes in on her. She's not liking it. She's like, all right, listen, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go on my date or whatever with Clyde. And at that point, he just did not stop. He was like, listen, I get it. You're desperate, but I was like, even you don't deserve to be with Clyde Weston. Like, he was just going in. And I'm like, I miss this guy. Now, at some point, he does wind up playing, cards with Bonnie. He does actually connect with her because they both don't like Jan Spears. So they're, they're kind of bonding over their common interests of really disliking Bonnie. Um, and actually pays Bonnie a compliment. So it was a nice, good moment. It was funny. I think every time that Victor's on there, he's just great. And he's one of those characters that I wish I would have been watching from. I wouldn't sit there and say jump because I'm not that old, but definitely around the time I started watching One Life to Live, which was in 1998, I think 1998 or 1999. I started watching that because I remember I watched it for 2 years before I started jumping on and watching, Port Charles, and then that got me into GH and yada yada yada. Um, but I'm pretty sure he has some classic stories that maybe I should probably just go on YouTube and watch. Um, Shawn and Belle go nowhere. Okay, seemed like they're having a good moment at one point. Shawn even talks about going back to work, and Belle is like, you're gonna be really swamped with that and a newborn or whatever, because Jan Spears is going back to prison. And Shawn's like, yeah, well, I mean, not so soon. I mean, she's going back, just not yet. I mean, he has newborn and breast milk, and Kayla signed off on it, and I asked, and at that point, Bella, I honestly tell you the truth, I look at this whole thing and I'm like, you're never gonna get past this. Like, in all reality, she's never gonna get past this. I don't see how Bella can actually get past the fact that Shawn is having a baby with her mortal enemy. Okay, somebody who has tortured her, tried to kill her, and her daughter throughout her entire life. And now you're supposed to tell me that your husband is having a child with this woman? Nah, nah, because there's always going to be a certain level of resentment. Um, I mean, I don't. I know that Belle and Shawn, they got Claire and everything like that. But I'm like, I mean, y'all can y'all can sit there and share, well, I wouldn't sit there and say share custody, but like, I don't really see. I just don't see them moving forward. Every time that they talk and every time that they interact, whatever sort of good moment that they're gonna have, it always gets pretty much tossed down the drain the minute they start talking about Jan Spears. Which also, she was not happy with, the baby name, Little Shawn or whatever, or Shawn. But that was the least of her anger, and of course she goes back. I mean, well, granted, she's living in Damaris' place, but she gets back there. She talks to EJ, and of course, to make her feel better, she gotta sit there and have his tongue down her throat. So, okay. Now, while they're having another one of their little makeout sessions, Sammy is right at the door. Now, of course, Sammy was there early. Well, Sammy was with Lucas earlier, and it seemed like Lucas was going to sit there because he was talking about, because when she came in the room, she was like, "What the hell happened? I know you're kind of a slob, but I mean, this is kind of overkill even for you." Um, which is odd because she doesn't ask about his hand being cut and everything like that. And at first, I'm sitting there thinking that he's like, I got something to tell you." I'm like, "Are you gonna sit there and say that you thought that you killed Abby?" Nah, you're not gonna say that. Are you gonna sit there and confess that you kidnapped Sammy? Nah, you're not gonna sit there and say that. Two down, two to go. Or are you gonna sit there and tell her that you know you fell off the wagon? Because that's what I thought she would. That's what I thought he was gonna sit there and say. Is that he fell off the wagon or whatever, and they'll sit there and talk about it. But nope. I guess that's just gonna come later on. Um, when she finds out because he didn't tell her. But whatever. So he's like, yeah, I was sitting there looking for a ring. I bought you a ring and I can't find it. Yada yada yada. And she's like, listen, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna have to sit there and say no. And at first she was like, why? Because she's still married to EJ. That's pretty much what she says. And she's like, listen, I've been sitting there trying with lawyers and everything like that. It's been getting nowhere. So I'm gonna sit there and just do it in person. So, she hops on the crutches and she goes out the door and right to EJ's place. So I can't wait to sit there and, what, I can't wait. Because here's the thing, she's not going to find out when she gets inside there. She's not going to find out. When she does find out that Bella is hooking up with her husband, oof, this is going to be great. This is going to be classic Sammy. I say classic Sammy like I know Sammy, but I've been watching a little bit of stuff on YouTube, so I've seen her version of Hurricane Sammy. And Clyde is in the park with the bag of jewelry, and EJ walks up, and EJ's like, "Hey, what you got there? What you got in the bag?" Clyde's like, "Oh, it's none of your business," and EJ's like, "By none of my business, you mean a gun, right? Because I mean, I could report you." Then he gets into his whole conversation and pretty much um he accuses Clyde of killing Abby. Because of the whole hit and everything like that. And Clyde's like, listen, I have no reason to go after her as long as you kept her mouth shut. And he pretty much says, listen, if you done something, if you open up your mouth, I'm gonna sit there and send you a message. And you're gonna know it's from me. So with that being said, they kind of part ways. Nancy winds up meeting up with Clyde, and Clyde, gives her, like a piece of the jewelry, some jewelry. And I'm sitting there looking at him, and I'm like, bro, listen, I get you don't know that the jewelry is from Abby's collection, but you know that that stuff is hot. Why the hell are you giving her stolen jewelry? Like I don't get that. And the thing is, Nancy's all like, oh, it's pretty. Oh, you're giving me confidence and everything like that. And Nancy's last night there thinking, I'm sorry, how much do you get paid working here? Because I don't. I mean, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just saying I don't feel like you have the funds to acquire such a expensive item. So was good, you know. But Nancy, she ain't thinking clear. She just got out of a relationship where she found out that her man not only was cheating on her, but apparently is gay. So she got a lot going on. And she's just not really thinking clear. And nice looking guy like that, he gives her some attention. She's gonna sit there and take it. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I feel like I'm done. I was like, no, 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 I'm not. So Leo winds up, crossing paths with Chloe and Brady, and at some point Brady, accuses Leo of killing, Abby. Since he's out for revenge, he got a list and everything, and she's like, did you kill Abby? Because at some point, Brady and Chloe are talking, and Brady's are like, what kind of, a person who would do something like that is a low life and just evil and twisted, and it's just, POS. And of course, Leo just comes walking right on in. And I was like, oh, is that what you do when you want to command stuff in the universe? You just sit there and say, I want money or whatever? Because saying, low down, dirty dog and everything like that, Leo just appeared like a damn genie. Um, they get into it back and forth. It doesn't really go anywhere. Leo's all like, oh, listen, because Brady's like, if you coming after people, you can come after me. I'm the one that pretty much blew up your marriage. Come after me. And Leo's all like, oh well, I'm done with revenge, and I can't change the past. I could just make amends and all this other stuff like that. And he's like, oh, just let me get on with my life. So he leaves. And of course, Brady and Chloe look at each other like, yo, did you buy a word what he said? Because I don't believe anything. Now Leo eventually gets back to his park bench. Um, and of course, he's looking at names and he's checking them twice, and he's crossing off some names. And of course, he crossed off Abby's name. Um, Now I know people could sit there and look at that like, oh, because he killed them. I'm like, maybe he just crossed the name off because he can't really get revenge. I mean, I in some ways I would like to believe that when he was sitting there talking about getting revenge on Abby and well with Chad and everything like that, and when he was sitting there talking about poor Abby and everything like that, and I'll never get a chance to make amends or whatever. And maybe this is just the optimism in me, but I kind of want to sit there and believe him. I mean, I know that Leo can be just every name in the book, but a killer, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. Anyway, I feel like that's pretty much about it. Like I said, a much better episode than yesterday. I don't know. Somehow yesterday's episode just really didn't work for me. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but today's episode was a lot better. And plus, like I said, it is always good to sit there and see my guy Victor because Victor just, again, he doesn't have an edit button, okay? He just doesn't not, it's like filter is just not in his, that's just not him. He's just going to sit there and say how it is. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't even sit there and think that, I don't even think that he doesn't have a filter because he's old. I think he doesn't have a Victor. I think he doesn't have a filter because he's Victor. Um, anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Be safe. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Have a great, safe, amazing week. You know what? I started in this review. So, I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Now, I don't want to be like every other annoying YouTuber because that gets really annoying. Like whenever I hear people sit there and say, "Oh, share the video, spread it around or whatever," and sometimes I'm just like, "No, just because you asked me to do it, I'm not gonna do it because it just pissed me off." And I get that it's an extra step. And to be honest, I don't actually do it. Um, But honestly, to tell you the truth, now I'm just looking at how important it is. I feel like I need to start doing it. So I mean, from now until I don't want to sit there and say it till when. Just because I'm so close. If you can sit there and share this video, it would definitely help. Hell, I felt like people started liking the video so much that even in my General Hospital reviews, because Brock TV is usually at the top when you go there. And I was like right underneath them, and I was like, "Dude, that's crazy." So, if you can share this video, that would definitely help me out a lot. Um, definitely get me to that 1,000, and start to get monetized, and I can start to spend a little more time doing this and a lot less time doing my other day job, because that is the ultimate goal. Is to kind of do this full time and just have fun talking to people and talking about soaps, talking about stuff that is just fun to talk about. The world can be very crappy at times, and everyone has an outlet, and I feel like there's nothing wrong with having an outlet as long as it doesn't hurt you or hurt anyone else. Um, I say go for it. So anyway, that being said, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. Be safe. You can share this video. That would definitely help, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great weekend.